Hey everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the state of Fire Team, and maybe the one and only character I'll probably ever tell you probably should skip. But which character on Fire Team, you might ask? Well, there's been so much Lee skipping talk, I set out to have a look at Fire Team in its current state and see who you really should skip. So you may have noticed there's 3 Warzone runs on the screen, and in one of them there is Lotus, in another there is Old.nanami, who is an S-rank fire tank, and in the last one there is New.nanami, who is also an S-rank fire tank. We're going to compare these 3 characters and see who should you actually skip and who do you really need. Now, I have a Christmas outfit for Old.nanami that I've literally never needed, so maybe this whole video is just an excuse for me to try out Old.nanami on the field. Or maybe it wasn't. We'll see the scores at the end. Now, I think it's important to remember that Lotus is literally free and given to you with the game. The next character is Old.nanami, and Old.nanami is not free, but chances are you'll just acquire her just for summoning other characters and so on. Even if not, there's plenty of S selectors and stuff, although I don't know why you'd want to waste one of those on her. As for the last character, we've got New Mech.nanami, so the question then becomes, is it worth 15k BC to summon Nanami just for time stop? Now, of course, if you're a Nanami enjoyer, sure, go for it. Enjoy Nanami, summon her, have fun, that's what the game's all about. But if you're just pulling her because you care about teams and metas and that sort of thing, and setting up Fire Team, well, let's look if that's a good idea. She has time stop, but does she do anything else? In terms of damage, she's honestly not that much further than the other 2. Now, unlike older Warzone videos, since the introduction of time stop, the timers are all over the place due to times freezing at different points in the video, but they all end off roughly the same in this instance, except for Mech.nanami, who has a bit of a longer run. Now, as you might have noticed by now, you can see the 2 characters carrying this team are mainly Liv and Lee, especially Lee. Something really cool Lee brings to Warzone as well is, in between waves, you can see that his core, when finishing, will do a lot of damage and finish off the enemies, and the next wave will actually spawn in for the final hit, and you're not wasting all your damage. This same thing happens when he uses his ult as well. So the first bit of damage finishes off any enemies if they have minor HP left, and time is frozen while this happens, so it's absolutely great. You can save a lot of time with this. And then the big damage of his ult still hits the next wave. So if it wasn't clear already, I'm definitely going to rule out Lee and Liv skipping. Now that our Warzone runs are wrapping up, let's check our scores. You can see our scores are Lotus on 925,000, and Old.nanami on 990,000, and New.nanami just breaks the 1 mil mark. So there's not a lot of difference between these scores, but what is the difference? As for Lotus versus Old.nanami, the difference would be Old.nanami is a fire tank, whereas Lotus is an attacker, so that's an easy damage boost there just from her tank skill. Meanwhile, we have New.nanami, who is actually exactly the same except for time stop. Here you can see that my Old.nanami actually only has her 5-star weapon, whereas New.nanami has her 6-star. So if Old.nanami also had her 6-star weapon, you can see that she actually comes with extra fire resistance. So if we were comparing things a bit more evenly, we would have New.nanami on her 5-star weapon, and given our scores, I think it would be just enough to make them equal. So given the cost of these characters and the slight differences of these scores, if you have Old.nanami just because you got lucky, fantastic, you should probably use her. If you're thinking about whether you should summon for New.nanami, if you're free to play, honestly, probably not. You should probably just cope with Lotus, who really didn't have that much lower of a score, and just wait until Watanabe comes out in 7 years or so. But until then, Lee and Liv are the main 2 that will be carrying Fire Team and amping your score up.